So creating quality handmade products is just one part of selling your products online. The other half, actually getting customers to notice and buy from you. That's why in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to create quality product photos that not only make your products look good, but that give customers the information they need to feel good about purchasing from you. And if you're new here, hello, my name is Imelda Jimenez Lamar, and I'm a product photography coach helping handmade sellers learn how to shoot product photos that sell online. So let's dive into what customers are looking for and how you can deliver that through your product photos. So it's probably not anything new to you, but the attention span nowadays of us is pretty short. I think it might be around 5 to 8 seconds right now. I think it used to be 2 to 3. I don't know. Basically, we have very short attention spans. And that's something you need to keep in mind when you are photographing and creating your product listings. Because if you can get somebody to click on your listing, that is great. That is a huge goal to accomplish. The next thing you need to do is to make sure that you're delivering them the information they need so that they can understand whether or not your product meets their needs and desires. And a lot of makers kind of fail at this because you probably just don't know, right? We kind of just take some photos, write a quick description, put it online, and hope that that's fine, that's what will help sell your product. But in reality, there's a lot you kind of need to think about, which is why I wanted to create this video and talk to you more about what customers are looking for so that you can sell your product easier online. So something that you need to remember, and you can even kind of think about this in your perspective and what your experience has been. But in general, I don't think a lot of people like to spend hours and hours browsing online trying to find something. In general, I think we tend to want to find what we need or are looking for pretty quickly and easily. And if there is any friction, if there's any hurdle that we feel like we have to jump through to find something out about a specific product, it makes it even more unlikely that we're going to want to buy that thing, right? Because the more obstacles, the more open-ended questions you are leaving on the table, the more likely your customer is just going to bounce and take their business elsewhere, which is why it's really important to think through what your customers need to know about your product so that they feel confident in purchasing from you and knowing that, hey, you are like going to deliver a really great handmade product to them. So that's why in this video, I'm going to go over what some of those things are. And I also want to remind you that I did create a video recently where I do kind of talk more about the emotional aspect and the logical aspect of customers when they are shopping online. That can be really helpful when you're creating your listings. So I'll make sure to link that in the description below and be sure to check that out. So one of the drawbacks about shopping online, I mean, there's tons of really great things like having your products delivered to your doorstep in a certain amount of time, you know, not having to walk around a store or go to like tons of different stores, drive around. But the big drawback to shopping online is that you cannot touch, taste, try on. You can't do anything with the product you're looking at other than look at the product, right? You don't have that tactile shopping experience like you do if you are shopping online. So it's really important to keep that in mind when you are photographing your products, if you're creating videos of your product and writing your descriptions. It's really important to try and create that, I would say, in-person shopping experience from a visual perspective, because when you do, then the customers will feel really good about buying from you and feel like you are like right there delivering them the information they need to feel like really good about purchasing from you. So just keep that in mind as we are going through these different types of photos and how you can create these images for your business. So I want to actually just point out 2 mistakes that I see a lot of makers doing. And if you do this, please comment below and let me know, because I really want to help you with this. So Two things that a lot of makers do when it comes to their product photos, and this might be a little more catered towards those who are new to selling their work online, but not taking enough photos of their product. I'm talking about like one or two, maybe three, or taking a lot of photos, but all the photos are essentially the same. They might have like a different background or something along those lines, but essentially if you look at the product shot, it is the same in each photo. And these two things are just not helpful for customers because it's not offering them the information that they need. A lot of customers need more variety in their photos. They want to feel like they have the ability to get a good sense of all the different aspects of your product, all the different perspectives. Because if you think about how customers shop in person, if they're shopping for clothing, they're probably, putting the product in front of them, in front of a mirror, inspecting the detail, looking at the back of the product. Like, it's a very involved experience, and you want to be able to provide that through your photos and videos online. So one of the first things that customers want to know when they're shopping online and looking at product listings and looking at your photos is, what is it? I know this may seem obvious or just kind of like a weird question that they would have, but let me tell you, I have seen some product listings and I have no idea what the product is. I don't know what they're selling. I don't know at first glance what the product even is. It's just too ambiguous. It's not very clear. And customers don't have time for photos that are unclear. They don't want to have to work to figure out what it is you're selling, right? They want to be able to see the product very clearly and say, hey, this is a red knitted hat, or this is a painting of a rainbow or something. They want it to be clear, because if you make it unclear, people aren't going to want to click on your listing, or they're just going to feel very confused, and confused buyers just don't buy. So do your best to make it really clear. And if you need some help on, some other tips on how to create that main image of your product listing really clear and more likely to get clicks, I did create a video about this and a blog post, so I'll make sure to link those resources in the description below. So to me, this is a super key product photo that you need to include in your product listings, and that is, how big is your product? A lot of customers, they don't know how big or small your product is unless you show it in relation to some other object. And if they are not being provided that information visually, they might not be inclined to want to buy from you. You don't want to make people look and read information, okay? Because let's be honest, people don't read. They want to be able to look at their photos and kind of decide more or less if they want to buy or not. They'll probably look at the description if they are interested, or they're looking for specific information you didn't provide visually for them. But when it comes to showing your scale and size, that's a pretty major aspect of your listing that you need to communicate. Shopping online definitely has its drawbacks, and being able to understand quantity and size is really important. So you can definitely go the route of showing a ruler or showing a line with just like the dimensions. But to me, if your customers are like me, I am not good with measurements. I'm not good with like distance. Like, I couldn't tell you whether I'm facing north, south, east. Like, I have no sense of direction and measuring things and any of that. So if you're going to try and get me to just know how big a foot is or how big 6 inches are, I'm just gonna probably not want to buy from you, to be honest. I don't want to have to get up and get a ruler or get a measuring tape and try and figure out, oh, is this the right size? Is this 6? No, I don't want to work, and customers don't want to work to figure things out. So it's really good to provide some, object or everyday object that more or less is pretty universal. I mean, that can be iffy, but something that people have a general sense of scale, and showing that with your product to show how big or small your product is. And the thing is that, make sure that you're using something that makes sense, because if you're using a hat and you're showing a pencil or something, that's a little weird. There's like a disconnect there, because you're like, why is there a pencil next to a hat? Doesn't quite make sense. But you could show some other product that might make sense. Another thing that I really like showing to communicate scale is to have a person, modeling or holding your product. That helps, communicate the scale of your product, but also provides a human element that makes your photo a little bit more interesting and show what your product looks like being worn or used, and that type of thing. So really make sure that you are providing customers a sense of scale in one of your product photos. So another question that your customers are going to have, and they may not have this question as obvious, it may not be something they're necessarily thinking about, but this will be super helpful for them. That is, how do you use your product? They want to know, how do they use your product? And this may seem ridiculous if you sell a product like maybe a hat or, a ceramic pot for a plant or a vase. You might think, well, you just put your plant in the pot, or you put the hat on your head, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't show them how to use your, ceramic pot, or how to wear your hat. This is such a powerful photo that I think a lot of makers miss out on. And it's because this allows you to paint the image, to paint this like aspirational photo that can really take your customer to this place that they may have not imagined, but they think, oh, I really like that. Like, I want to have that experience. Or, oh, I never thought about using that product in this way. Or, that product will fit totally into my home decor or the aesthetic that I have for, my space. It really can be just a really powerful photo, and I encourage you not to underestimate into using props and creating a really beautiful image that really shows off and tells the story of your product. So don't sleep on the lifestyle photo, and make sure you show how you use your product. So another thing that might come across the minds of your customers when they are looking at your product photos and listings is, how do you package your product to ensure that it's going to arrive safely on their doorstep? Now, I'm sure we've all had the unfortunate experience of having a product arrive damaged, and that is not a fun experience, and something you don't want your customers to experience either when they buy from you. So a really great way to put their concerns at ease is by photographing or shooting a video where you are showing them how much care and thought you put into packaging and wrapping their products to be shipped. Now, this is even more key, and I think really helpful if you sell products that are fragile, that can break, that can leak, those types of things, because we all are, I would imagine a lot of us who order products that are breakable really hope and really pray that it's going to arrive okay, and the box isn't going to be a hot mess and leaking, and you can hear glass rattling in the box. So providing some visual context and addressing that concern can be really, really helpful for your customers online. Another question your customers might have about your products is, what are the materials or ingredients that you use in your products? Now, this is really important because you have customers out there who want to buy sustainable products, who want to buy products that have sustainable, not sustainable, organic ingredients, who have sensitivities or allergies to certain things. And highlighting what your product is made of, what ingredients you use, maybe where you source it from, can be really helpful for customers and help them feel good about buying from you. Because sometimes those things can really make or break a sale. And the fact that you are putting thought and care and talking about that can be really reassuring for your customers. So include a video or include an infographic, or you can even include a photo of maybe where you source your product. Say you make a knitted hat, maybe you get your yarn from a local farm, something along those lines. But highlighting the ingredients that you use and the materials can be really helpful for your customers and make them want to buy from you. Another thing that can be really helpful for customers is educating them on how to care and maintain your product. Now, if they are buying a handmade product from you, they are already assuming that they're going to get a quality handmade product. They're not buying something that was mass produced in another country and, is sold for like $3 at your local Target. I'm assuming that they are buying your product for more and are expecting your product to last. So educating them on how to care for your product can be really helpful, because it can also help them know how much time they may need to put in to maintain the longevity of your product. I think about this with clothing. I think about this if I'm buying secondhand and seeing products that are dry clean only, are garments that I really try to avoid because I don't want to have to deal with going to the dry cleaner. I also don't want to deal with having to hand wash my clothes. That's a lot of work, it's a lot of time, and I don't have that dedication or motivation to try and do that every time I wear a certain piece of clothing. So in short, educating them how to care for it can be really helpful, so that they know, hey, I can put your product in the washer and dryer, or I just need to hand wash this, or it can go in the dishwasher, or I need to, clean it this way, or whatever it is that, they need to know to take care of your product. So make sure you include a photo educating them on how to maintain and increase the longevity of your product. So another question that your customers might have when they are looking at your listings is, your product really handmade? Did you make it? What's your process? And this has become more of an issue over the years with resellers, especially on Etsy. And if you look at a lot of product listings, they're pretty vague. It's not very clear, at least visually, that a product is handmade. And if you really want to make it obvious that you're the real thing and you're not some reseller out there just saying, hey, this is handmade, when it really isn't, make sure that you include a photo of you creating, or a photo of your studio, or a photo of your product in your work in progress, something along those lines that helps show customers, hey, I think this is an actual, like, real handmade business. Like, it's not, one of those other, types of businesses that are just very vague and don't communicate it. So make sure you include this, put it in your about section and in your bio. Really highlight that you are the real thing. And this can be really helpful for your customers who truly want to buy and support a handmade seller and their business. So before I wrap up this video, I just want to reiterate how incredibly important your product photos are in providing information to your customers. It's not enough just to take a couple pretty pictures of your product. They need to communicate information to your customer, because, you know, we have very short attention spans. And if you are not addressing questions visually to your customer about your product, they're going to take their business elsewhere. So this is why it's really important to spend some time understanding what concerns and questions your customers are going to have about your products and answering them visually. Because to be honest, and I may have already mentioned this in the video, we tend to look at photos and not read. A lot of people totally overlook things, and I know I have. I've totally missed things on product listings and realized, oh, this is not the size, or this is not the thing I thought it was, or it wasn't listed, you know, in the description. So it's really important to try and photograph your product like they're not going to read your description. Okay, so that can really help you get ideas and think about photographing your work differently. If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button on this video so it can get recommended to other people who need this information so that they can sell their work online. And be sure to consider subscribing if you haven't already. And if you want more tips and you're looking to sell your handmade products online and get noticed and make those sales, be sure to visit my website at Sunset Shutterbug, and I'll make sure to list other helpful blog posts that I've written that are related to this video that can really help you out and get you ready for the holiday season, because it's just around the corner. So that's all for today, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.